Have you ever woken up, stared at the ceiling, and thought, is this it? Is this really what life is all about? You followed the rules. You did everything right. School, job, bills. But freedom, fulfillment, it still feels out of reach. Why? What if I told you the very system you trust was never built to make you free, but to keep you running in circles? Hello, and welcome to this video. Before we begin, I want you to do something radical. Forget everything they ever taught you in school, everything society told you about success, everything you believed was normal. Because today, we're going to confront a truth that most people live their whole lives avoiding. The life you're living might not be yours at all. It's a script, a cage, a silent trap disguised as stability. Let's go back to the beginning. From childhood, we were handed a formula. Go to school, get good grades, follow the rules, be polite, don't ask too many questions. Then, get a stable job, work hard, save money, retire at 60. And millions follow this path like it's the gospel. But stop for a moment and ask, who designed this path, and why doesn't it ever lead to real freedom? Look around. The signs are everywhere. People waking up exhausted, commuting through traffic, punching in, pushing paper, nodding yes in meetings, chasing promotions, waiting all week for the weekend, and dreading Monday before Monday ends. And for what? A paycheck that barely covers the bills, a rented apartment, a 2-week vacation that barely lets you breathe, a life so full of rules, yet so empty of meaning. But here's something no school, no textbook, no government official will ever say to you out loud. The life you've been conditioned to chase is not the life you were meant to live. The rat race isn't a building. It's not a boss. It's not even a job title. It's far more dangerous than that. The rat race is a mindset, a system, a trap hidden in plain sight. It begins the moment you're born. From day one, society places you on a conveyor belt. Be a good student. Listen to authority. Don't question too much. Fit in. And as you grow, that belt doesn't stop. It just speeds up. You go to school, memorize facts you forget, stress over grades that don't reflect your worth, and follow instructions that reward obedience, not originality. Then you graduate. Congratulations! But you don't realize it yet. You've only moved from one cage to another. Now it's a job. Now it's deadlines. Now it's the pressure to perform, to conform, to meet expectations others wrote for you. You start waking up not because you want to, but because you have to. Alarm clocks replace dreams, meetings replace meaning, and time becomes something you no longer own. You feel it, don't you? That quiet emptiness in your chest, even after a full night's sleep, that dull ache in your soul on Sunday night as Monday creeps closer, that sinking realization that despite all your effort, your life is stuck on repeat. Wake up, commute, work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat, for 5 days a week, for 40 years, until one day you retire, not with excitement, but with exhaustion. You finally get free time, but your body is tired, your energy is gone, and your dreams long buried. That is the rat race. Let me give you an image that says it all. Imagine a hamster inside a cage. It runs on a spinning wheel. The harder it runs, the faster the wheel turns. The hamster thinks it's making progress, but the truth, it's going nowhere. The cage doesn't move. The wheel never ends. This is what millions of people go through every single day. They wake up early, rush to work, answer to someone else, sacrifice their health, delay their happiness. They tell themselves it's worth it. Someday things will change. But that someday never comes. They think they're advancing, but in reality, they're just spinning. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much you sacrifice, if your income, your freedom, and your choices are locked behind someone else's system, you're still inside the wheel. You can't take a break without asking. You can't raise your income without permission. You can't make decisions without fearing consequences. And worst of all, you've built your entire life around a job that can be taken away in a single email. And here's the scariest part. This system, this cage, is not broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to. Because the world doesn't run on freedom, it runs on control. And the easiest way to control people? Keep them tired, keep them busy, keep them afraid. If you're too exhausted to think, too distracted to question, and too scared to step away, you'll never leave. That's why so many stay, not because they love the race, but because they don't know there's another way. Let's talk about one of the most powerful illusions keeping millions stuck in the rat race: comfort. Comfort feels good. It's warm. It's familiar. It tells you, stay here, you're safe. But what most people don't realize is this. Comfort is the most dangerous addiction on earth. It offers short-term peace, but long-term regret. It whispers, you're doing fine, even when you know you're not. Think about it. A person wakes up, goes to a job they don't love. It's repetitive, it's draining, it lacks meaning, but it pays the bills. It provides just enough to survive, maybe even to have weekends off and dinner on the table. So they stay. They say things like, at least I have a job. It could be worse. Maybe next year I'll do something different. But next year never comes. 5 years pass, then 10, then 20. And suddenly, they look back, wondering where their life went. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a dog lying on a sharp nail. The nail is poking him, just enough to hurt, but not enough to force him up. So he stays, not because he enjoys the pain, but because the pain is familiar, because getting up would mean facing the unknown, facing change, facing effort. That's what comfort does. It creates a cage lined with soft cushions. It numbs your hunger for growth. It convinces you that discomfort equals danger, when in fact, discomfort is often the doorway to transformation. And here's the paradox. People stay in situations that drain them because it feels less risky than doing something bold, like starting over, launching a business, moving cities, changing careers. But what they don't realize is this. Playing it safe now leads to pain later. Comfort now equals dreams delayed. Comfort now equals freedom sacrificed. Comfort now equals waking up at 70 with a heart full of what-ifs. You see, the rat race doesn't need chains or fences. It only needs your willingness to settle. It gives you just enough, a salary, a few perks, maybe a raise once a year, not to make you rich, but to keep you loyal, to keep you from questioning, to keep you too comfortable to leave. But here's the hard truth. You never had control. You only had the illusion of control, granted to you by a system that benefits from your obedience. The moment you depend fully on a paycheck, a manager's approval, or a promotion ladder you don't control, you're not free. So if you feel stuck, but your life looks fine on the outside, don't confuse comfortable with fulfilled. Don't mistake safe for free. Because what feels safe today might be the very thing stealing your future. In today's world, being busy has become a badge of honor. You ask someone how they're doing, and they proudly reply, Busy, so busy. But here's a hard truth most people never stop to consider. Busyness is not the same as progress. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're going anywhere. Let's break this down. Every day, millions of people wake up, jump into meetings, respond to emails, check their phones, rush through deadlines, multitask through lunch, and collapse into bed thinking, I worked hard today. But pause for a moment and ask, what did they actually build? Did they move closer to a dream? Did they create something of value? Or were they just keeping busy? Let me give you a powerful image. A person running on a treadmill. They sweat, they pant, they push themselves harder. But when they stop, they're still in the exact same place. That's what the rat race does. It feels like movement. It looks like effort. But in the end, it's just exhaustion without direction. You go to work, you answer emails, you chase deadlines, you check things off a list. But the list never ends. And what's worse, most of those tasks, they don't build your freedom. They build someone else's dream. You're busy, yes. But are you building anything that truly belongs to you? Let's go deeper. Ask yourself this. Over the last 3 years, did you develop a high-value skill? Did you create a second stream of income? Did you write that book, launch that website, take that course, start that project? If the answer is no, why? For most people, the answer is the same. I was too busy. But busy doing what? The rat race trains us to confuse activity with achievement, to believe that as long as we're in motion, we're making progress. But motion without purpose is just noise. It's a distraction. It's a trap. You see, the system doesn't reward true growth. It rewards compliance. It rewards people who are constantly doing but never truly creating. And that's exactly how the race wins. Because the more occupied you are, the less time you have to question. The more burned out you feel, the less energy you have to dream. The more reactive your life becomes, the further away you drift from your own path. So here's the shift. Don't aim to be busy. Aim to be effective. Don't ask, how much did I do today? Ask, did I do what matters most? Because the people who escape the rat race don't fill their days with noise. They build in silence. They focus on impact. They don't chase tasks. They create meaning. And when you stop confusing movement with momentum, you finally start moving forward. Let's talk about a silent prison, one that doesn't need bars or chains to hold you back. It's invisible, but incredibly powerful. It's not fear of failure. It's not fear of loss. It's fear of judgment. So many people stay stuck in lives they don't love, jobs they hate, routines that drain them, not because they lack dreams, but because they fear what others might say if they dare to try. They don't ask, what if I succeed? They ask, what if I look stupid? What will my friends think? What will my parents say? What if I fail and people laugh? That fear of being judged, misunderstood, mocked, it's what silences more dreams than failure ever could. Let me tell you a real-world example. There was a man who worked in a small office for years. Deep down, he had a dream to start an online business selling handmade furniture. He was passionate and talented. He had even saved up a little money. But when he shared the idea with coworkers, they laughed. Bro, stick to the job. You start a business? What if it doesn't work? He let their voices become his own. So he stayed. Years passed. His passion faded. And today he still sits at the same desk, while the dream he once had gathers dust in the back of his mind. And here's the bitter truth. Those coworkers, They're still complaining about their lives. They never built anything themselves. But their judgment was enough to kill someone else's dream. That's the danger. We're trained from childhood to seek approval, to be the good student, the respectable adult, the successful employee. We're taught to measure our worth by how others see us, and so we play it safe. We blend in, we stay small, not because we want to, but because we're scared of standing out. But let me tell you something powerful. No one is thinking about you as much as you think. People are too busy worrying about themselves to spend their lives criticizing you. And even if they do judge you, they won't live with your regrets. You will. The truth is, most people aren't afraid to fail. They're afraid of being seen failing. But here's what the rat race doesn't want you to know. The moment you stop caring about judgment is the moment you take back your power. Because when you act from courage, not fear, when you choose your path, not society's, when you build something that matters to you, the same people who once doubted you will one day ask you how you did it. So stop waiting for permission. Stop trying to impress people who won't remember your name in 5 years. Stop trading your life for applause that doesn't feed your soul. Because regret is louder than any critic. And when you're old, looking back on your life, it won't be the judgments that haunt you. It'll be the chances you never took. Here's a question that most people never ask, even though it controls their entire life. Do you really understand how money works? For most people, the honest answer is no. From childhood, we're taught to follow a simple formula. Work hard, earn money, pay bills, repeat, and that's it. We spend years in school learning how to solve equations, memorize history dates, and write essays. But no one ever teaches us the real laws of money. And that's not an accident. It's by design. Because if you understood how money actually works, you'd stop being dependent. You'd stop selling your time. You'd stop staying stuck in the rat race. Let's look at the system most people live in. They work 40 hours a week, sometimes more. They trade time for a paycheck. They believe the harder they work, the richer they'll become. But is that true? If working hard guaranteed wealth, then farmers, cleaners, construction workers, and delivery drivers would be millionaires. These are some of the hardest working people in the world, and yet many still struggle to pay rent. Why? Because money doesn't reward effort. It rewards leverage. It rewards strategy. It rewards ownership. Think about the wealthy. They don't earn money by the hour. They create systems, assets, and products that keep generating income even while they sleep. A digital product, a blog, a rental property, a business, an investment, a YouTube channel. They build once and get paid again and again. That's called passive income, and the rat race hides this truth. It teaches you that a job is the only way, that a salary equals security, that wealth is for the lucky or the chosen few. But that's a lie. The real reason most people never escape the system is because no one ever taught them how to make money work for them. No one showed them how to both build an asset, create value at scale, turn knowledge into income, multiply what they earn. Instead, the system teaches you to save money in a bank that pays less than inflation, work for decades with no ownership, rely on pensions that may not exist by the time you retire. That's why even after years, decades of hard work, most people end up with just enough to survive, but never enough to feel free. Here's the brutal truth. If you don't learn how money works, you will work for it your entire life. You'll stay in the race. You'll chase promotions. You'll fear losing your job. You'll trade your freedom for financial survival. But once you understand money, truly understand it, you realize that time is more valuable than income, that ownership is more powerful than overtime, and that freedom is built, not given. So ask yourself today, are you working for money, or are you building something that allows money to work for you? Because until you make that shift, you'll always be running and never arriving. There's one belief that quietly kills more dreams than failure, fear, or even poverty. It's this: I'll start when the time is right. It sounds reasonable, even wise. We tell ourselves, I'll chase my dream when I have more money. I'll start that side hustle when the kids are older. I'll leave this job when things settle down. I'll try something new when I feel more confident. But the truth is brutal. The perfect time doesn't exist. Life will always be messy. There will always be bills to pay, people to take care of, problems to fix, and doubts whispering in your ear. And the more you wait, the heavier the excuses become. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Lena. She loved baking. Her passion lit up every time she stepped into the kitchen. She dreamed of starting a small home bakery. She had recipes, talent, and even a few loyal friends who said they'd buy from her, but she kept postponing. I'll do it when my youngest starts school. Then, I'll do it after we move. Then, maybe when I have better equipment. Years passed. Her energy faded. Her confidence shrank. And one day she told herself, I think it's too late now. Not because the dream died, but because she waited too long. That's how the rat race wins. Not with loud alarms, but with silent delays. Not by locking you in a cell, but by convincing you to stay still. You see, people think success comes when you're ready. But in truth, success often comes because you started before you were ready. Read that again. The people who build real freedom, the ones who escape the race, they don't wait for perfect timing. They move anyway. They start small. They fail. They adjust. They grow. And step by step, they create momentum while everyone else is still getting ready. Here's a secret. Action creates clarity. You'll never feel fully prepared. You'll never eliminate all fear. But the first step, however shaky, is what separates dreamers from doers. So if you've been waiting for more time, for more money, for someone's approval, for the right moment to begin, stop. The only moment that's real is now, not next month, not next year, not after things calm down. Just now, because the longer you wait, the more life slips through your fingers. And one day you'll look back, not with anger, but with quiet sorrow, and whisper, I could have done it, if only I'd started. So don't let waiting become your story. Don't let perfection become your excuse. Don't let someday become never. Tip 1. Build something that works when you're not working. Let's begin with the most powerful shift that separates the trapped from the free. Stop working only for money. Start building something that works for you, even when you're not there. This idea changes everything. Because here's how most people live. They wake up, they go to work, they trade hours for a paycheck, and when they stop working, the money stops too. That's called active income. And while it pays the bills, it also locks you in a system that demands constant effort just to survive. You're like a phone that must stay plugged in, or it dies. But what if you could build something once and let it keep working forever? That's called passive income, and it's not a fantasy. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. If you want freedom, Let's make this real. Imagine this. You come home from work tired but focused. Instead of watching 2 hours of TV, you spend 1 hour writing a short ebook, a how-to guide, a recipe book, a parenting manual, anything you know well. You upload it online. The next morning, someone buys it. You didn't need to show up. You didn't need to answer a call. But you got paid because you created something that works without you. Now imagine doing that again. A blog, a digital course, a small podcast, a YouTube channel, a set of templates, a mobile app. None of these make you rich overnight, but they create systems, and systems are what buy back your time. You see, the rich don't just work hard. They work once in a smart way, and then let their systems run on autopilot. They don't trade hours forever. They build assets, things that keep paying them long after the work is done. Even something as simple as renting out a spare room, offering a digital service on weekends, creating a paid newsletter, designing a useful tool can become your quiet escape from the rat race. Let's be honest. Passive income is not easy. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes learning new skills. But the reward is priceless. Freedom from fear. Because once your income is no longer tied to a job, you stop being afraid. You no longer panic when your boss is in a bad mood. You no longer feel trapped during layoffs. You no longer have to beg for time off to live your life. That's real control. And the best part? You don't have to quit your job to start. You can begin in silence. Use 1 hour a day. Use your evenings. Use your weekends. Build something small. Let it grow. Nourish it consistently. Because when the day comes that your side income covers your basic needs, something shifts inside you. You walk taller, you breathe deeper, you stop running, and start choosing. That's when the race ends. That's when freedom begins. Tip 2. Master a rare skill that pays you more than time. Let's get something clear right now. You don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value you bring in that time. 2 people can work for the same 1 hour. One earns $10. The other earns $1,000. The difference? Skill. The rat race keeps people trapped by assigning their worth to a clock. You clock in, you clock out. You get paid by the hour. It sounds fair, but it's a trap. Because time is limited, you only have 24 hours a day. If you rely on time alone, you'll always hit a ceiling. But if you increase your value, you break that ceiling forever. Now let's talk about rare skills. Rare doesn't mean impossible. It means valuable. It means not everyone can do it. And when you become that person, the one with a skill that solves a real problem, you become irreplaceable. Let me give you a real example. Carlos was working in a coffee shop for $12 an hour. He wasn't unhappy, but he knew he wanted more. One day, he stumbled upon a video on graphic design. Something clicked. He started learning for free, YouTube tutorials, practice every night. At first, it was rough. He made mistakes, but he kept going. 6 months later, he designed a logo for a friend's small business. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Word spread. He got more clients, more practice, more confidence. A year later, Carlos quit the cafe. He now works from home, just 4 hours a day, doing what he loves, and earns 5 times what he used to. He didn't go back to school. He didn't need a fancy degree. He just learned a skill and mastered it. And here's the truth. You can do the same. It could be anything. Writing, editing, video, creation, programming, marketing, coaching, public speaking, data analysis, copywriting, UX design, even storytelling like this. The internet has turned the world into a giant classroom. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait. You need discipline, curiosity, and consistency. Spend 6 months learning. Spend another 6 months practicing. And within a year, you can turn a basic skill into an income stream. And here's where the magic happens. Once your time becomes expensive, you stop being treated like just another worker. You don't chase opportunities. They chase you. You choose your projects. You set your rates. You control your time. Because the world pays specialists, not generalists, not people who do a little bit of everything, not task followers, not clock watchers. Specialists escape the system because they can create their own. So find your skill. Treat it like a sword. Sharpen it daily. And watch how the world begins to respect your time. Because when your skill speaks for you, you no longer need to shout to be heard. Tip 3. Rebuild your identity in silence. Escaping the rat race isn't just about money. It's not just about income, side hustles, or freedom of time. It's about identity. You see, the real prison isn't always around you. Sometimes it's within you. The truth is, most people don't escape the system because, deep down, they don't believe they can. They whisper things to themselves like, I'm not smart enough. I'm too old to start over. I don't know the right people. It's too late for me. But let me tell you something important. These aren't facts. They're beliefs. And they were given to you. From childhood, the system trains you to obey, to follow instructions, to wait for permission, to believe that success is for other people. And the longer you live inside that system, the more you begin to shrink your own sense of possibility. You stop dreaming. You stop exploring. You settle. You begin to confuse your current situation with your true identity. But here's the breakthrough. Who you are right now is not who you have to remain. You can rebuild yourself. You can rewrite your story. You can change. Not loudly, not publicly, but quietly, from within. And the most powerful transformations happen in silence. You don't need to post about it. You don't need approval. You don't need anyone to notice yet. Just start. Wake up 1 hour earlier. Pick up that book you've been meaning to read. Turn off the noise. Unfollow the distractions. Spend time with your own thoughts. Start a journal. Set micro goals. Finish small things consistently. Rebuild your discipline like laying bricks, one by one. As you do, something shifts. You begin to speak differently. You walk with more purpose. You respond with clarity instead of confusion. And slowly, the people around you will notice. They'll ask, "What happened to you?" And you'll smile and say, "I just remembered who I was before the world told me who to be." Because here's the truth. The rat race doesn't just steal your time. It steals your sense of self. It convinces you that you're nothing more than your job title, that your value is based on your productivity, that your worth depends on how well you follow the rules. But when you take time to reconnect with your real self, the creator, the builder, the explorer, you begin to walk differently in the world. No job can trap you. No boss can intimidate you. No system can define you. Because once you've rebuilt your mind, you've already won. So disappear if you must. Rebuild in silence. Return with clarity. And when they see you again, stronger, freer, more alive, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll say, "I stopped trying to fit in and started becoming myself." Tip 4. Take back control of your time ruthlessly. Let's be clear. The most valuable currency in your life is not money. It's time. Money lost can be earned again. But time, once it's gone, it's gone forever. And yet, ironically, most people treat their time as if it's infinite. They give it away freely, casually, unconsciously, to people, to platforms, to problems that have nothing to do with their purpose. Why? Because the rat race has convinced them that their time doesn't belong to them. It decides when they wake up, when they eat, when they can rest, when they're allowed to take a vacation, when they're permitted to see their family. They don't live. They operate. They react. They function like robots, checking emails, rushing through meetings, responding to everyone's demands, except their own. But here's the hard truth. If you don't take control of your time, someone else will. The world is full of people and systems that are ready to hijack your hours. And unless you defend your time like your life depends on it, it will slip away. Let me give you a simple exercise that could change your life. For just 1 week, track your time, hour by hour. Be honest, be brutal. How much of your day goes to mindless scrolling, gossip emails that lead nowhere, tasks that feel urgent but mean nothing, entertainment that numbs but doesn't grow you? Now ask yourself, is this how I want to spend the only life I get? Because here's what successful, fulfilled, and free people do differently. They don't just manage time. They protect it, relentlessly. They say no to anything that doesn't build their vision. They wake up earlier, not 5 hours earlier, just 1 intentional hour to themselves. They carve out sacred space to think, read, write, plan, build. They set boundaries, not because they're rude, but because they're focused. They understand a simple truth. If it doesn't grow you, it drains you. So ask yourself, why am I giving energy to people who don't respect my path? Why am I reacting to the noise of others instead of creating my own rhythm? Why am I exhausted, yet unfulfilled? The answer often lies in time. The rat race isn't just a job, it's a schedule designed to keep you too busy to think and too tired to rebel. But when you reclaim your time, you reclaim your power, you reclaim your creativity, you reclaim the space to dream again. From that space, you build. You learn that new skill. You launch that side project. You invest in your health, your mindset, your freedom. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. So set the rule clearly in your mind. If it doesn't align with your future, limit it. If it doesn't support your growth, cut it. If it doesn't challenge you, it's distracting you. Protect your time ruthlessly. Because in the end, your time is your maitu, and how you spend it is how you're writing your story. Tip 5, stop consuming and start producing. Let's finish with one of the biggest mindset shifts you'll ever need to escape the rat race. Stop being just a consumer. Start becoming a creator. Every day we live in a flood of content. You watch YouTube videos, you scroll Instagram, you read articles, binge shows, listen to podcasts, absorb information, and there's nothing wrong with that until it becomes your only mode of existence. The question isn't, are you learning? The question is, are you using what you've learned to build something of your own? Because the world is split into 2 types of people. Type 1, consumers. They watch, they scroll, they like, they follow, they observe. Type 2, creators. They write, they design, they speak, they film, they build, they teach, they put something into the world. And guess what? The creators are the ones who grow. They gain influence. They gain confidence. They build income, audience, impact. They gain freedom. Let me share a quiet example with you. A young woman, No fancy equipment, no marketing budget, just a love for cooking. She started posting simple videos of her homemade meals using her phone. Her kitchen wasn't perfect. Her lighting was dim. At first, only a few people watched, but she kept going, consistent, genuine, creative. Today, she has thousands of followers. She earns money through ads, sponsorships, and even an online recipe book, all because she stopped consuming and started producing. This isn't about being an influencer. This is about owning your voice, owning your story, creating value, no matter how small at first. And here's what the system doesn't want you to know. Creation builds independence. When you create, something shifts in your brain. You stop feeling helpless. You stop waiting. You stop depending. You become active. You become aware. You become alive. So what can you create? A blog sharing lessons you've learned. A video explaining a concept you love. A product that solves a problem. A podcast with your perspective. A digital tool. A service. A course. A story. A solution. It doesn't matter what you create at first. What matters is that you start, because every time you build, you get better. Every time you publish, you get braver. Every time you help someone, even one person, you grow stronger. And slowly, you build a life where you are the source, not the follower. Where you create meaning, not just consume it. Where you lead, not just observe. So ask yourself right now, what do I know that could help someone else? What have I lived through, learned, or loved that I could turn into something real? Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait to be discovered. Start creating today. Because the moment you start producing, you stop running. You start rising. You begin to escape. Now, pause. Take a breath. Forget what they told you. Forget the deadlines, the bills, the noise, the labels. Forget what the world expects of you. And for a moment, remember who you are. You were not born to wake up tired, drag your body to a job you dread, follow orders, pay bills, stare at screens, and sleep just to repeat it all the next day. That is not life. That is survival. That is the rat race. And you were not made for it. Inside you, there is something more. A mind that can imagine, build, dream, create. A heart that can love, lead, connect, inspire. A soul that longs to explore, express, grow, and live. But here's the reality. If you keep living by default, you'll never discover what you were designed to do by intention. If you keep chasing promotions you don't care about, buying things you don't need, impressing people you don't even like, you'll one day look in the mirror and wonder where your life went. And the truth will hit you, quietly, painfully. It wasn't taken from you. It was traded. Slowly, silently, for comfort, for safety, for approval. But not anymore, because now you know. There is no perfect time, no permission slip, no magical moment when everything aligns. You are the signal. You are the permission. You are the fire. You don't need to be rich to start. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need all the answers. You just need to start. 1 hour, 1 step, 1 brave decision. And suddenly, your story begins to change, because life doesn't reward those who suffer the most. Life doesn't reward the ones who wait. Life rewards those who move, those who act, those who dare to break the pattern. So if you're tired of being stuck, tired of pretending, tired of living someone else's life, then let this moment be your turning point. Start small. Wake up earlier. Say no to distractions. Read that book. Learn that skill. Write that first post. Launch that small idea. It doesn't matter if they doubt you. It doesn't matter if you fail at first. It doesn't matter if no one understands your journey, because it's your life, your story, and only you can write the next chapter. So here's what I want you to remember. You were not born to be average. You were not created to follow orders until you die. You are not just an employee. You are a builder, a creator, a leader, a warrior. You were born to be free. The rat race is loud, but freedom is silent. It's built in early mornings, in quiet sacrifice, in brave decisions no one sees. And one day, that quiet work will become your loud success. Disappear if you must. Rebuild in silence. Return with power. And when they ask, "How did you change so much?" smile and say, "Because I finally stopped running and started living." Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, don't ignore it. Share it. Reflect on it. Act on it. And most importantly, don't go back to sleep. You were not meant to survive on autopilot. You were meant to live awake, with purpose, clarity, and power. So if this video lit even the smallest spark inside you, nurture it, protect it, let it grow, because that spark could become the fire that changes your entire life. If you found this helpful, inspiring, or even challenging, consider subscribing to English Journey. Here, we don't just teach English. We build mindsets. We grow through stories. We learn how to live better, one word, one thought, one breakthrough at a time. Until next time, stay brave, stay curious, and never stop building the life you truly want. I'm glad you're here. See you in the next video. Take care.